guys, the reviewer here, continuing my anniversary special leading up to my big season finale. And the final game on my top 10 favorite games list is Naughty Dog's The Last of Us. The Last of Us is one of those games that I would make a strong contender of being not just one of the best games of 2010, but probably one of the best games of the last decade. Like, it's one of those games that it's a bleak game from beginning to end. It's one of the most depressing games I've ever played in my life. But it's also one of my favorites because the first time I played it, I knew it was going to be something special when you're not even done with the opening scene of the game, sequence of the game, and it already throws the biggest gut punch at you with the death of Joel's daughter Sarah at the very beginning. And when that happens at the beginning, I'm like, oh, this is the thing. This is gonna be like one of those games. Like this is gonna be like Telltale's The Walking Dead, where you're just gonna hold our feelings hostage for the entire game, and it does hold your feelings hostage because it's one of the most bleak games, and you see that opening. And I swear to God, every time I play it, that opening scene just kills me. Or that scene when his daughter dies kills me because it is utterly just heartbreaking. You just see the look of complete distress in his eyes, when it happens, and it's one of the most harrowing, harrowing intros to a game. But it's also the sign that oh, you're gonna be in for something special. You're gonna be in for this is one of those games. And anyway, it's basically a survivalist game. You're basically surviving against the world. And the basic plot of the game is that you're basically this the person that's assigned, hey, here's this girl named Ellie who is infected but might be immune to the virus. So you're basically given the duty of bringing her to the Fireflies, and what happens then on is one of the most intense, visceral. It's an intense game. It's intense. I mean, the acting in it is incredible. You've got Troy Baker giving a phenomenal performance as Joel, this man who is basically he's one step away from just go something doing something horrible. And the thing is that when this game came out, I pre-ordered it. I was really excited for it. And one of the things I loved about it when I don't know if it was just when you pre-ordered it or when it was installing, but they had a thing of when it hit 50%, you could start playing the game when the install hit 50% and be playing the game while it's still installing in the background. And I know that's a weird thing to boast, but for the ability that you can install this game and still play it while it's you can play through the game while it's still installing in the background is something I think is impressive because a lot of games usually they'll be like, oh, well, I had to wait 10 to 15 minutes or so for this to install. I feel that's the thing you should put in not just The Last of Us, but any game. If you download it digitally, it should have hey, you hit 50%, you can play it, but you can't, play it. I kind of learned that with Doom because when I when I installed Doom on my PS4, I was like, okay, I'm playing it, it's fun, but kind of noticing the fact of sound effects aren't there. Like, I was like, okay, kind of weird that I can play it and there's no sound. Like, what? Okay. But like anyway, The Last of Us is one of those games that stuck with me. I've played through it a couple of times because it's an emotional game. It's visually stunning. Like there's a part, I think it's when you're going like through a city and you start seeing a giraffe, and it's one of those things that really makes you just go like, wow, this is the evolution of technology over the years has led to this. And it's it's a harrowing game. Like it's one of those, it lingers with you because oh dear God, there are some really dark themes in this game, and it does not like, it doesn't stray away from that darkness. Like it tackles it head on. Probably the saddest scene is probably there's these like two characters who you meet like halfway through or somewhere towards like the beginning of the game, and you wake up the next morning to see that they killed themselves. And I'm like, wow, this is Jesus. This is bleak. Wow. But like, it's one of those games that I love so much. I can't wait for The Last of Us Part Two. Oh, oh, it's an amazing game. Anyway, the reviewer signing out.